Welcome back to the Mid-Year Mitch YouTube channel. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how I remove this taillight panel from this rear deck to get it ready to install on that 63 convertible. So be sure to stick around. Right now I'm working on mocking up some of the fiberglass for the rear clip on this 63 convertible, and one of the next panels I need to mock up is the taillight panel. So I have this donor part that my buddy provided with the car, and it's in pretty nice shape, except for the fact that it was cut off here, but all the stuff that we need is in good shape. So the first thing I want to do is remove this bonding strip on either side, remove the quarter panel bonding strip, and we're actually going to remove the taillight panel with this taillight panel bonding strip from the rear deck, because the rear deck is really not doing us any good. So we're going to split it here. Normally I would go about this with hammer and chisel, whether it's just a big chisel, kind of a putty knife type chisel, or wood chisels, but I've had a lot of people suggest that I try using a heat gun. So we're going to give that a shot. So I've got my heat gun here, and then I also have this little panel splitter here. So we're also going to give this guy a try, because it may be kind of hard based on the shape of the panel to get anything under here that's not at like a right angle. So we're going to give all these tools a try. Hopefully if we heat this bonding adhesive up, it should just pop off according to what everybody says it should. So we're going to give it a try. I removed both of these bonding strips here, and this one just came off, and you can see the fiberglass is 150 or so, 170 degrees over here. And down here we're at 160. So this actually worked surprisingly well. I'm really impressed. If you notice, there aren't any fibers left behind here, like up here where I didn't get it hot enough. But down here where I got it hot, it actually just separated between the glue, and the glue got stuck on both panels. So it just separated right along there. And I don't know if you could see in the video or not, but you could just watch this seam, that's hot. You could just watch the seam open up and just separate the whole way down, which was rather satisfying actually. So I'm really impressed with the way that worked. So I'm definitely going to keep using the heat method. The key is definitely to get this thing as hot as you can, definitely hotter than you can hold. So I would say close to 200 degrees. So now I'm going to remove these two pieces, and I thought I was going to have to grind out the bonding adhesive on this joint, but what I might be able to do is just heat it up and peel it back like I did, and just have this whole thing just pop. So I'm really happy with the way this taillight panel turned out. I actually did not damage it a bit. It turned out actually perfect, which I'm actually really surprised with. And you can see again, the bonding adhesive is on both the taillight panel and the rear deck, so it just separated in that joint, heated up, made it soft, and just peeled it right up. So I was using this guy, once I heated it up, and put it in there and just put some tension on it, and then it was just opening up like a zipper the whole way down, even if I didn't heat that far. It seems like the heat likes to travel in the fiberglass, so that's a good thing. But I just heated it up at this end. Once I got an end started, just heated it up the whole way along, and she just fell right off. So I'm gonna let this thing cool down, but really just want to put that on the car just to see what it looks like, you know, because it hasn't had a taillight panel on it for, I don't know, probably 40 years. So that'll be kind of big. I'm really happy with the way that turned out, but now I have a panel that's a little bit more challenging, a little more technical, but it probably will still work really well. I have this cross member here that came off of this car. This panel would go, really don't want to set this on top of this. Stay. This panel is this area right here, and this little gutter and this reinforcement underneath reinforces this area, and it also ties in the hinges for the deck lid. So I need to separate the rear deck, what's left of it. You can see it's separating there. That part's not going to be that difficult, but in this little drip rail area, that's a little more technical. So we'll put this technique to the test again with this guy. So I finished removing the fiberglass deck from this cross member and installed the cross member along with the deck lid hinges and deck lid. That was definitely a little bit of a fight to get this cross member out because it's glued on this surface, and the top surface. So once I broke away this top surface, I kind of whittled away at the bottom part. The heat definitely helped, but I mean, it's still a bit of a fight. You're still gonna have a lot of grinding to do to, you know, completely clean that up. So I wanted to visually show you the difference between peeling a fiberglass joint apart by using heat, and then if you would do it just by using a hammer and chisel, which is what I normally would do. But you can see it leaves a bunch of fibers behind from either, you know, this panel or the panel that you're separating it from. So in this case, whenever this was peeled back from the rear deck, these fibers are from the rear deck. So the deck is physically thinner than it was, versus with this method, you can see there are no fibers left behind in either this joint or on this deck. So that means that both of these pieces are still their original thickness. They're still just as strong, versus this way you can chance it as maybe, like in this area, you can see there's no fibers, but right here it probably got pretty thin. Now there are previous repairs in this area too, but you can see in areas it got thin, some areas it broke off. So you run the risk of breaking the panel, making it super thin, or causing other issues. So I definitely recommend using heat, especially if you want to save all the panels. So in this case, this rear deck was probably, well, no, I know for a fact it was pretty tore up because I still have part of it. It was definitely torn up by separating it this way versus this way. Both of these pieces, including the taillight panel, the bonding strip, and the deck, all those surfaces are actually in really good shape, which is pretty cool. But that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. You're not gonna wanna miss a lot of videos coming up on this car. We're gonna have videos about where we're gluing the cabin together. We have a new rear deck to install in this car, the taillight panel, quarter panels, the front end. I'm working on getting the inner fenders in this car right now. So there's a lot of videos happening right now in series. So there's gonna be a lot of videos coming out in the future on this car. This thing's gonna come together pretty quick, and I think it's gonna be a really nice project. So I got a lot of work to do. I'll catch you guys later. Side note, does anybody know what goes on right here? I just noticed both of these have their paint worn off that appears to be from fire, because this one, these are from two completely obviously different cars, but they came from completely different places. So does anybody know what goes on right here? I don't know. Comment below if you know what's going on here, why we're getting a similar pattern here between these two things. All right, so I found another taillight panel. It also has some kind of damage going on in this exact area. Seriously, what is going on here? Help me understand why it's this side and not this side. What's going on underneath here?